Hello, and what a happy day for us Chiefs fans, isn't it, Clark?
Woo!
Oh, Jesus.
That's
We
my
got
best Travis
people,
Kelsey impression right there.
we got people listening on their commutes in the morning, and you just blew out their eardrums there. My lord.
Not sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah, day later, I'm still pretty pumped here. Got a couple hours of sleep last night only, but that happens when you squeak one by there. So, but yeah, no, what? Thanks for joining us here tonight. We got a couple live people already here, and we're just gonna kind of break down the last night's Super Bowl 57 with the Chiefs and the Eagles. Talk a little bit of the new Hogwarts Legacy game, the latest episode of The Last of Us, but most importantly, the Chiefs' victory. Let's be real honest here.
Priorities.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't wait anymore. Super Bowl 57 ended in a thriller. Chiefs 38, Eagles 35. I'm going to leave it to you, Clark. How about you start off, since clearly you need to get some stuff out after that scream.
Most definitely. I could not be happier with the result. It may not have been as exciting as some would have hoped, with the Chiefs having to kick a longer field goal, give the ball back to the Eagles, and then give the Eagles a chance to go tie it, and then we get overtime, and then we're all up till 11 p.m. But didn't happen. Dude, what did you think of the last play? I think it was Jerick McKinnon sliding in at the 1.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
That's exactly what I wanted. I mean, we all kind of knew at the very end there that they were going to try and give it up, and that's just situational awareness, just sliding from the 3 and ending on the half-yard line. He even did the little sidestep and stepped outside the half-yard line to make sure they knew that he was stopped there rather than say anything that he scored. So
yeah,
I mean, overall, I was obviously I was pretty irate early on, and it's one of these things. Everyone is say you should have seen that coming, but who the hell ever sees the double digit comeback, especially in the biggest stage, and especially in the first half when you particularly haven't played well on offense enough because you just never had the ball, and then you see the injury, So, I mean, overall, obviously, this is the result we wanted, throughout the whole year. Mahomes, well deserved MVP. I just thought, I to be honest, our defense did enough. I was irate with them. I was just texting you back and forth, Clark, but I was all right with them. But they literally did just enough. They got just enough to stop the Eagles, where we could thankfully get Mahomes out there enough in the second half where we had 4 straight scoring drives. And the best thing about this game is there's nothing controversial, and everyone agrees it was a well fought game.
You say they did just enough, Bryant,
but
they're the ones that won it.
Yeah.
Nick Bolton's strip, sack, scoop, and score. He did it all. And he had another one taken off the board. What more can you ask from that defense? Whenever you're forcing turnovers like that and you're scoring, hey, that was in the first half. That's one of the reasons why Mahomes only had 8 minutes on the field, is because Nick Bolton's like, sorry, guys, you can stay seated. I'm taking care of it. So,
oddly enough, that scoop and score might have not been detrimental. Obviously, we got a touchdown out of it, but you could tell by the end of they were fucking gassed after immediately going right back on that field where Jalen Hurts and that offense were just matriculating the ball down the field, run, 3rd and 1, do their QB sneak. They were just converting every 3rd down and extending these long drives and keeping the Chiefs off the field like they were supposed to. And they played really well. It was just not enough in the end.
I do want to say the Philadelphia Eagles QB sneak, it's a thing of beauty. They have it down to perfection. It is amazing how well they run that freaking play. Yeah. I don't know why they don't do it just straight 4 downs. They're going to get 2 to 3 yards every single time. Just QB sneaks all the way down the field.
But between them actually converting a few of those, and then you saw the Chiefs never had an answer. 3rd and 1, they would get undercut, and then they would just get pushed back 2 yards. And then finally you saw the one where Chris Jones was okay, I'm just going to let them get underneath me and I'm going to jump over. And then he still got pushed back because he's kind of just laying there, and he has 3 people pushing him back. They're still having their feet on the ground. So
Like I do love it whenever they would give you the side shot, and it almost looked like that Eagles line was sniffing the grass,
mhm.
which later it probably smelled a little shitty because it was terrible. But they get so low and just drive. How they had the traction to drive like they were, like that
Well,
that
they're
Eagles
on all
line was
fours,
freaking
dude.
impressive.
They're literally compact on all fours, just bear crawling down there.
Yeah, and it worked every single time.
Hmm. Nope, I don't think we ever didn't get that. I don't think that ever failed to convert on
They
those 3rd and 4th and shorts.
they never did not gain yards. Never.
Hmm. No, and sadly, I think that's where, and we've already seen it this year. I think teams are going to continue to, okay, we want to beat the Chiefs. We're just going to have to play 4 downs every single
Uh,
time.
just a word of caution: not everybody does it great like that. I do
Mhm.
believe we watched Josh Allen try to QB sneak against the Minnesota Vikings. Didn't
Yeah,
end so well.
not the greatest, especially on the goal line there, right, Ryan?
Aaron, I mean,
We struggled getting that push too. I know we did a lot of 3-and-1s and 4th-and-1s like that didn't quite get that successful push.
it
That's the
it
beauty.
it takes a really, really good in sync offensive line, and
Mhm.
the Eagles probably had one of the best leaders in the game, anchoring it down, like just a great team leader. I mean, they
What do you
worked
think? Do
hard
you
at
think
it,
there's
and
maybe 5 teams that can do that?
if that, like that consistently, I doubt it.
Yeah. I mean, even with the Chiefs line as solid as it is, I don't even think we could convert that every time. I haven't seen it. I mean, that was literally just like, playing 1A football. It's like, okay, we're just going to put everyone, foot to foot, and we're just going to push forward. Like, oddly enough, when you just break down football to the simplest elements, that's all you need to do, man. Put the 5 strongest, biggest guys, undercut them, and just keep pushing.
When the Eagles were going for the 2-point conversion, which they snap it from the 3, I honestly thought they were just going to QB sneak and surf Hurts into the end zone. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Mhm.
Like, I had no doubt they were going to convert it that way either. Like, they
Mhm.
just did it every single time.
Had you guys before this game, because I just learned about this term on Pardon My Take last Friday before the game, had you ever heard of the term octopus before this weekend?
In related to football,
Yes.
no.
So what an octopus is, and Jalen Hurts did it, is he was the one that ran in the touchdown for 6 points, and then he also ran in the 2-point conversion for 2 points. So he scored all 8 points in that on that scoring drive. So apparently the new term is they call it an octopus, and it hit.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know how long that term's been around, but that was the first time I'd heard it. And yeah, I mean, I guess good on them. Yeah, that's about the one thing they can hold their head on high between Jalen Hurts and scoring that octopus. But like, man, that was a obviously very biased Chiefs point of view.
So
And go ahead.
for as well as Jalen Hurts and they ran that QB sneak, they could not get the run game going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, other than Jalen Hurts dropping back, maybe a little QB draw or something where he was designed to get out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Sanders, Boston Scott, Gainwell, they never did get any momentum going.
Okay.
I don't have the stats in front of me. Did they even have 50 yards together? I don't think they did.
Yeah, I mean, well, very clearly,
I think
Jalen Hurts was their leading rusher.
Hurts had 70, but I think they might have only had like 120 or less.
So I'm pulling up the stats right now. Oh
I
my
thought
God,
Jalen
no.
had a really good overall game.
He did.
But that
Mhm.
fumble, that had to be one of the
Huge.
worst fumbles. And I mean, it was just a bad fumble, but the timing, man,
That was
the game that they did it.
almost as bad as the Mahomes fumble.
I was gonna say if there's one thing here is very Mahomes-esque, it was the Cincy game where he not only
Yeah.
fumbles it but kicks it 10 yards away so no one else can like just land on it. I'll have to replay it, but it literally looked like Butterfingers just flew right out of there, man.
It seemed as if Hurts was trying to switch hands with it, and it just pop through. I don't know.
Mhm.
Nick Bolton was on him like quicker than all get out,
So
dude. Like,
to go back, a couple things. So Jalen Hurts did have the 70. Combined the other three running backs, which I was told fucking for 2 weeks, oh my God, this running game and your 29 ranked running defense, you're not going to be able to do nothing. You know, and versus Jalen Hurts, correct. He ran fucking all over us, but not the running backs, the ones that you pay to run the ball. They had a combined 45 yards
that's what I
total
thought.
between the three of them.
Yeah,
So,
not impressive.
so that was the first thing. The second thing, can we retire the camera view of sad loser on the sideline watching other team win? Like seriously, like the Stephon Diggs one is kind of funny now. It's like I saw him and he's using this as motivation to come back. I saw Boston Scott doing it on the side of this game. It's like I've not seen one person that's been moping on sideline as motivation do something past that. They've never advanced farther once they've done that. Just go to locker room, man. Like I just I just don't get that.
I get it from a point. I mean, how many times are you going to be there for that? You were that close. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
maybe he is just finding that incentive to see it and, you know, to hold that for motivation going forward. Who knows? I'm not him, but I'm not going to judge him for it. Like you stand there and you watch it and you just think, God, we were
Yeah.
that close. That could have been us up there.
Do you know who is him? Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Only behind isn't it only behind Montana and Jerry Rice for most TDs in the postseason of all time by one?
Is it by one?
Yeah.
Woo, baby.
Yeah.
He's only trailing Jerry Rice for touchdowns in the postseason, right?
Yes. Yeah, but I guess Jerry also had Steve Young to throw to him as well. So,
Yep.
So I would say obviously we could gush on. I could literally give every stat on what Mahomes is the first thing ever and blah blah everything. If you want to look him up yourself, man. Shocker, he's very good and it's a generational talent. I mean, if you want to look at stats, whatever it is, you know, he's got them at this point. And I was gonna, we'll bring it up later as just a question, but I mean, like, frankly, he's got numbers for Hall of Famer already. Yeah, and he's still gonna keep moving on. But there's plenty of other things to actually talk about, so we're not just gushing, Chiefs love this whole time. Um, overall play of the game, like I said, I don't think you could have scripted any better. 38-35, actually higher scoring than the leaked script that had the Eagles winning 37-34. But overall, you've already mentioned it before, Clark. The field sucked ass. What the fuck was that?
They were all pumped about displaying their new turf. They've been developing for 2 years. It's going to be the best thing. Was this part of the turf that they were developing to host like these World Cup games, or some of these stadiums are changing to turf so that they can host the World Cup soccer matches? Like, is this the turf they're putting out there? Because if I'm any of FIFA or anybody watching this, I'm like, not that grass. No, that's worse than turf. Just not that.
Well, Ryan, you sent the article earlier about how this was the USGA. There's a lot of people claiming there's some 90-year-old geriatric called the Sod Father claiming he had part of it. The USGA, Oklahoma State, to my Big 12, usually I'm proud of them. They with disappointment with this turf. Did they say anything on what the goal of why this was experimental or why this field was so great, to be honest?
I honestly didn't look into it. I can only think, the USGA, that's their thing, is having pristine golf courses and that. So if they're going to be the experts of that, you may as well have them try to be part of it and show it off. I was interested. I listened to some of Pat McAfee today, and Ian Rappaport was talking about it. So the guy that is in charge of all this turf stuff for the NFL, he's literally 94 years old. And this is going to be this was his last season doing it. And so they'll have a different turf expert next year. But I feel like, and not to be we don't want to have ageism because that's not right. But I feel like at some point you kind of should step down from that type of position when you're 94. But good for him keeping doing that. But whatever.
He
But
was
the
a
other thing they
teenager
said,
before World War II started. I think
yeah. So I mean, he probably knew grass better than anybody else. So that's a long time.
Was he part of the league whenever they were just rolling carpet on top of concrete and calling it the field?
Probably. And then the other thing was they kind of blamed the halftime show because apparently all those stages that came down heated up everything and added moisture and caused all these issues. I feel like that's a pretty lame excuse.
Everybody was slipping and sliding on their ass before halftime. Like there's not a highlight of this game.
Was it worse the second half? I don't know. But again, I feel like that's just a stupid excuse to just try to cover their butts on it.
Damn Rihanna. Come on.
Yeah, don't be so selfish, geez. And then the other thing I know, Reddit is always a great place to go for your information. With the players wanting to complain about having real grass instead of turf. This was the NFL's way of showing, okay, you got real grass. Are you sure you want that all the time? So, yeah. You got to enjoy it. You got to throw a good conspiracy theory in there every once in a while.
So my favorite, I've mentioned this before the pod as well. Oklahoma State was if you're watching the game, remember we were part of it. We made the greatest grass field turn to be the shittiest grass field. I looked up at T. Boone Pickens Stadium. They haven't played on grass since like the 70s. What the fuck do they know about playing football on the grass, man? They're playing on it's fake grass. I don't know. It's some fancy fucking AstroTurf 3D, Xbox 360 name on it, but they don't play on real grass. So what the hell are they doing, man?
No, it is the same thing with the USGA, and that was Golf Digest that posted that. But you can thank the USG on this. USGA, well, you know what? Next U.S. Open, I'll be very thankful for what they do for that, but maybe keep their ideas out of the Super Bowl. I don't know. And you guys brought up a good point, too. Professional golfers, most of them use metal spikes still. So they're obviously slipping on there. So why? Yeah, I
don't know. When we're talking about the sod father, this 94-year-old that is touting himself, all I can think of, this is like a random screenshot with how my brain works. This was a shot from, it was like probably 10 years ago, and it was just this old geriatric. It shows the oldest man alive being an athletic trainer since 1948. This was like in the 2010s. Like, dude, hang it up, man. Like, what are you doing at this? He was there when it was probably like the Brooklyn Dodgers and shit. Like, just hang her up, dude.
That's gonna be Clark in the MRI suite.
No, not even close.
I remember when the Xbox first got released. Whatever, Grandpa. We're on Xbox 13.2. Fuck you. No.
Is this the fourth generation of Xbox while we've been alive?
Yes.
Man. So
what was that question?
This is the fourth generation of Xbox during our lifetime.
It is. That's crazy.
Whew.
Yeah. And I mean, we had the N64 days too, the Super Nintendo. So we've been through a lot of that. Can you imagine that in 50 years?
We went from 8-bit to virtual reality in 40 years. Yeah, I mean, we're not too far from the Matrix just putting a gigantic needle in the back of our head and what the hell they say?
Jack and Bryant, the greatest Super Bowl show ever.
Yeah, I'm jacking here, but I'm talking about jacking into the Matrix, not the hub.
That's how we're going to be watching the Super Bowl from now on. We'll be able to see people slipping right in front of us. It'll be pretty cool.
I can just smell the field right now. Just amazing. But so yeah, field was shit. Tahoma 31. Don't you ever come near a football field again. I
will say, on TV, that field looked great. It looked wonderful.
Yeah,
real pretty on the eye. But
what's the issue? What's the issue with Arizona's regular field though? Because they have a good field. Everyone you listen to says their regular field is pretty decent. Because they do the same thing. They take it outside, let the sun be on it, bring it in. Like Harrison
Bucker would disagree.
Yeah, we have to say that's where he got injured first.
Week one. week 1 he destroyed his plant ankle.
Well,
on,
maybe
like,
he
the
shouldn't have
kickoff.
weak ankles. Jeez.
Well, we saw the exact same thing happen to Jake Elliott on a kickoff. Like
Yeah.
I would
That's
say
what-
that to my I would say that to my father-in-law. He once twisted his ankle playing a game of cornhole, playing a match of cornhole. So I just say, just tell him and his weak ankles. That's Bucker's issue.
Could it be because of the desert environment? So Pat P, he kind of went over this, I think maybe the day before or something. He was actually talking about how he would have concerns about the surface being slick because of how they take the field out of the stadium outside, and so then it's exposed to the environment. Whether if it's overnight, it gets cold in the desert. It was kind of cold weather, I think, yesterday or the day before, and then they bring it inside, and if it warms up, there's gonna be moisture in the ground. It's gonna get slick. So he actually talked about that like the day before. So maybe it's just the method. Maybe they should have just kept it inside overnight.
I don't know. None of us are herbologists or whatever the hell you call real life.
Agronomist.
Yeah, agronomists. There you go. But it was just biggest stage. I think it said it was the third most watched event ever. After like MASH, which everyone in the world watched, and I can't remember which Super Bowl it was, but it wasn't the most watched Super Bowl, most watched in the last 6 years. So
It's like 131 million or something like that.
yeah, but honestly, we'll move on. We don't have anything else other than say then it was a shitty field. Let's get it out of the way though. Refs, did they dictated it, or is everyone just being a crybaby again because the Chiefs won?
Crybaby pee pants.
Ryan,
That was a weak ass call.
Yeah.
Here's my reasoning for that. It was a good. I mean, it was a called penalty. It really is. But there was worse holds than that the whole game, and nothing was called. And you wait till the last 2 minutes to make that call. Like if you're gonna call it once, you got to call it the whole game. There was way worse things.
I would have been happy if they would have called it the whole game because Bradbury was doing that. He did it to Juju early in the game, and yeah, I would have loved this to have been called all game. Trust me.
And give credit to him. He fessed up and said, "I pulled on it. I was hoping I would get away with it, but I don't know. It's I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
From a non-Chiefs fan, you hate to see the game end like that. That's the only thing is you know Kansas City is going to score somehow. You don't know if it's going to be a touchdown or a field goal, but you want to see the Eagles have a chance to answer back. Can they answer back, or will Kansas City's defense step up? I mean, that's like I said, from a non-biased fan, it was an awesome Super Bowl. It was a fun one to watch, but kind of crappy.
I will tell you right now, it also sucks as a Chiefs fan. You have every Bengals and fucking Eagles fan and every non-fan of the team crying that dictated the whole game. That's the frustrating part.
Did you see Eli Apple's tweet about the refs win again?
Yeah, he tweeted that from Cancun, right? Because he couldn't make it to the big game.
Yeah, he paid extra for the Wi-Fi just so he could watch and tweet.
Yeah, I was getting really trolly online yesterday, but boy, man, it was easy pickings. Where everyone that was not, like I said, it was so weird that, in my opinion, again, biased Chiefs fans, so take this with a grain of salt, is you had the Eagles that have won in the last 5 years. You have the Chiefs that have won only once in the last 5 years. And you're acting like, well, it would be unbearable if the Chiefs won. They have to grease their polls before they play a game because those scumbag degenerate fucks will climb polls because they don't know how to conduct themselves in a civilized society. And then they lose the game, and like loser mentality, they still climb said polls because they're losers. My God, you know when a city loses 3 major championships in 3 months, maybe you just go home afterwards. But instead, you're just scumbags. You're flipping cars before you even play the game. You might as well just said Burrowhead again at this point because you don't know how to win. Sorry, that's going to be me being a shitty Chiefs fan. But man, I'm just watching this and I go, this is the team that you're rooting for, and these are the fans that you want to win, are the ones that are flipping cars and just drunk assholes. Sure, whatever. I guess we'll be the villain at that point.
I've got nothing bad to say about the Philly fans. They're wild. They're crazy. They're passionate.
They eat horse
Am
shit.
I going to climb
Clearly.
a pole? Hell no. I don't have the evolution that they've had there in Philadelphia where I can climb a greased pole. So
You need to eat more cheese sticks, bro.
is that what it takes?
Yeah. Got to be able to handle that cheese in your hands. You can do
Oh,
whatever you want.
Yeah,
with that
you need to have a healthy diet of cheesesteaks and Wawa for fucking years.
Dude, Wawa is freaking awesome. I don't want to hear it. I was in Orlando for some training a few years back, and that was my first experience with Wawa, and I wish we had Wawa in South Dakota.
Mm-hmm. So, but no, like I said, as much as the referees or people say one, it's funny because they, as we mentioned, they say one play dictated this whole thing. The referees calling one hold that finally got called, that one hold didn't stop us from scoring 24 points on and scoring on every single possession in the second half. That was your shitty defense. That didn't stop us from Jalen Hurts fumbling not once, but a bullshit second fumble that got overturned. If we want to talk about referees, there are plenty of things that got flipped against the Chiefs.
But
where,
Brian,
yeah,
Lane Johnson just has a center's mentality. He is not false starting.
Oh, I listened to an interview of him on Friday. He goes, I just wait. Once I see his Kelsey's arm moving, that tells me I can go. And they don't call it all year. It's like, oh, so you just get a half step jump every single play, and that's legal. So why don't we just get a half yard jump in being in the encroachment zone? Because Frank Clark, perfect example. He jumped off sides because the clock hit zero. First off, let's just get into the referees because now I'm going full blown. How many delay games were not called? Because that fucking clock had zero so many fucking times, and then Hurts snaps it. Lane Johnson has a false start, and nothing gets called.
I think the two that you would have seen called for delay of game this year, I think they got called. Or at least the one did, and they got a timeout on the other. But it is almost like a second and a half. Like, by the time they see zero, they're like, zero. Have they snapped the ball? No. Okay, I'll blow it.
Yes,
like it takes forever. Just make it whenever it hits zero. If they haven't snapped it, that's the penalty. It's that easy. Like, why do we have to make it hit zero and then everybody's like, well, now it's a judgment call?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was one thing Aaron Rodgers talked about on Pat McAfee was just because you see the clock hit zero on that. That's the refs usually give you a little bit longer than just that zero, and that was news to me because
seconds at that point instead of 40.
Yeah, I mean that really makes no sense to me. What's the point of the play clock then? It's do I want to be a dick that day? Do I like the quarterback that's involved with this? There's so many things that the refs can decide. I don't know.
If it's that big of a deal, make it 41 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my question is this, and again, I've never been an NFL quarterback, so I don't know reading offenses or reading defenses, setting up the plays, looking at all the coverages, all that stuff. You've got 40 seconds. How do you not get a play snapped in 40 seconds?
You would think. Well, I think it was because Sirianni was more worried about doing a dumbass smirk and waving our defense to come back for a penalty, and then realizing that he was wrong. Do you know how fucking stupid you look when your quarterback that's 24 goes, hey, can you put your arm down and act a little mature, coach? I'm 24, by the ways, and you're an old-ass fucking man. Like, how you can look at that?
Sirianni's an old-ass fucking man. He's still pretty young.
I love Sirianni. I like his personality.
I like him.
Scumbag.
I like him.
We'll disagree on that one.
I know you guys probably don't follow him, but Mark Schlereth, Broncos, I don't know, legend, but Bronco, he's pretty funny to follow on Twitter. So do you guys follow him at all?
I think so.
Did you say he was a Broncos legend? Because those don't exist.
Okay, but anyway, he starts off. NFL is playing chess while we play checkers. They didn't want to hear all the complaining about horrible officiating, so they just made this field absolute horse shit. Well played, NFL. And then like an hour later, the NFL is brilliant. Tired of everyone complaining about the shitty field on Twitter, so they made a horse shit call at the end of the game to take the focus off the field.
Oh yeah, that's 3D chess at that point, my friend. Yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate because so many of those factors get thrown in. And like we said, I mean, again, we will easily be the villains, but it is literally getting tired of. First off, I've literally been. I keep trying to say it. I'm getting away from the blaming the referees on any game, Iowa State, Chiefs, otherwise. That's
Should I read out some of the text you sent us last night?
Oh yeah, no, and again, I'll admit it's loser talk, you know, but it's one of those where you know we know. Trust me, as much as I'm pissed off on, hey, they're not calling these false starts, they're not going to do all this. You know what pissed me off more? And Clark has these texts. We couldn't stop a fucking run. We couldn't stop. Oh, third and long again, and we allowed Jalen to slip away and make a small little pass. You know, it was. We could not stop any defensive run. So it wasn't going to be any one penalty that was going to dictate this whole thing. It was our inability on defense to stop really anything. You know, as much as we touted them, they let up 35 points. I mean, let's be real clear.
It wasn't a defensive game.
Yeah, I would say, and versus that offense, you know, it was enough. You know, we did score a touchdown on defense, but you can't also act like allowing 35 points of offense when I think the Eagles only did 31 and 31 in their two other games. That ain't great, but it was enough.
They made some great plays though. Like the ones that frustrate me are when Jalen Hurts gets loose, but he's fast. He's an amazing athlete. Like he's making the plays. I can't fault him for that whenever he's just barely quicker than Colin Sanders, which my big boy got a sack because he chased Jalen's ass off to get him out of the sideline, a little short of the line of scrimmage. Hey, baby, that's a sack.
It counts.
So,
this was one thing that I didn't get in this game as well. Jalen Hurts has been burning you with the run the whole game because said throwing shoulder is injured. Why on the last play do they not have an intermediate route, or why do they not check down, or excuse me?
So I guess he slipped on that throw.
Well,
who would have thought? No way. He did not slip on that shitty ass turf. Trying to make this big time throw. There ain't no way.
He threw a couple big bombs out there. I mean, they were accurate ones too.
Yeah.
And then the biggest one of the night, well, not the biggest one, but a very important one to finish the game, which by the way, I had a bet that the game would not end on a QB kneel down. So win that one. But yeah, huge throw for the game. And he slips on the field because the field's in such crappy condition.
I'll have to watch that one back.
So, but again, how do they not have anyone? If it was a slip, then it makes sense why they didn't have an intermediate. I legit thought his shoulder was kind of effed at that point. But I was 100% convinced they were going to let them do 4 verts and then just have 6 linemen or 5 linemen in front of him and just let them establish blocks, because he would get 35 yards downfield easily before anything happens, and then you still have a full set of linemen in front of you that can run block. And as well as he was running, I legit think that would have given them the best shot to win that game.
Ooh.
I think they should have done what Dallas did at the end of their game.
Yeah, the swinging gate, fucking looking like idiots.
Should let Boston Scott snap it.
Yeah.
Boston Scott, watch out! Here comes Chris Jones.
then when he gets knocked off his feet, he can just lay on the field and look up at the sky, seeing all the red and yellow confetti fly down on him. So, what else do we want to kind of talk about? Like I said, unfortunately referees, dictate another, or is the big quote unquote, script for the Chiefs. Clark, this is a joke. This is a joke question, but what rules do they change in the rule book since we're big meanies and win again? Are they going to change something for the Bengals and the Eagles, or are we just going to actually just keep the rules as is?
I think the only thing they can change at this point, if everybody wants to take the Chiefs down a peg, is fix the officiating.
There you go.
That's the thing.
If that's what's so wrong with it, fix that, and we don't have to change any rules. We just got to improve our officials.
That's the thing from my point of view, where every week these big games, the storyline is the refs did something stupid to dictate the game. And it's not, it happens almost every game. I've said it before with the Vikings this year. We had 2 games in a row where the NFL had to send apology letters because the refs screwed up so many calls. We got tackled by one of the refs at one point. It's a headline. It seems like all 17 weeks of the regular season and then going into the playoffs. And then you have Roger Goodell come out and say, this is the best reffing we've ever had. I don't understand the issue. That needs to stop. There needs to be a way to fix this and actually make it so things get better, because that shouldn't be your headline after every week. There shouldn't be conspiracy theorists saying there's a script for the NFL season. There needs to be something.
That majority comes from the Bills, Bengals, and Eagles, who have a combined one Super Bowl amongst all three franchises. So they tend to rely on that type of excuse.
So I do agree, but I also disagree. Like, I kind of agree with Roger that this may have been some of the best officiating they've had. But the problem is our camera technology has far outpaced the improvement maybe your officials have been able to make, because guess what? We can review everything frame by frame. What is it, like 120? Is it 120 frames per second? Those cameras running at 8K.
I know my TV isn't, but I know those cameras are 120.
It is freaking absurd, like how minutely we can break down every single play. And whenever you have rules where they're making a judgment, humans make errors. Like, there is always going to be something that can be debatable. Like, that is the way the NFL rules are designed. Like, well, you have to make a judgment. Does he have possession within a half a frame, or does this half a frame say he didn't have possession, or did he make a football move? He turned his hips. Is that a football move? According to the last game, it wasn't. So let's take that 7 points off the Chiefs board.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to say. I feel like the officiating was better this year than last year. Like, last year, I think it was terrible, especially with the roughing the passer. It was bad earlier this year, but I feel like down the stretch, they really let them play out more at the end of the year. I feel like it was better this year, but I also feel like there is definitely room for improvement. As Ryan said, it was a discussion point every week, but that is always going to be there if we have rules where we have humans making a judgment.
Let's get robots.
I can't remember where I had it, but to be honest, I mean, with these penalties, there's only 9 called, and several of them were pre-snap. So, I mean, they really let this game play as much as they could. And, everyone wants to focus on one play. So
there are a lot of other plays that could have been made.
I just my question is, if it would have flipped the other way, if the Eagles would have won, would we have worried about said play calls? No, we wouldn't have worried about that one holding. If he would have had the miraculous Hail Mary, wouldn't have hurt anything.
I think at the end, if it's at the end of the game and it affects the outcome, I think it's going to be brought up no matter who wins.
We say it affected the outcome. There were still 2 minutes on the clock. Did it affect the outcome?
Well, yeah, they were based out of timeouts.
We don't know.
Well, the one thing that I did read that was I thought was hilarious was Andy Reid going in and having the best clock management skills of his life to beat said Philly, where he struggled year after year after year to win the Super Bowl. Is just fucking chef's kiss perfection. Getting rid of him because he can't fucking handle a game, and then he runs the greatest clock management as a fuck you to the city. Yeah. He'll never say it, but I will. So.
Takes the team to the Super Bowl, and that's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, this was a retooling year. Someone said it best, like, the Chiefs, they're never going to rebuild, and I agree with 100%. It's like Bama and Georgia and, like, LSU to extent when they do have these top teams. You're not rebuilding. You're just retooling because you have the great system. You have Brian Kelly still in place. You have Saban. Or like with Georgia this year, you still have Kirby Smart. You still have Stetson Bennett. You still have this amazing – yeah, you're retooling. You had to replace a lot? Well, no shit, because you were so good, everyone went to the NFL.
So, I've got a curious question along with the Eagles organization. Is it the same owners currently who fired Andy Reid, who got him to the Super Bowl, who fired Doug Peterson, who won them a Super Bowl? If it is the same organization, clock's ticking, Sirianni. You might only have a year left.
Yeah, Super Bowl or bust, even though they only have one in their history.
By the way, Brian, you missed. You need to remember the Max Johnson years at LSU. That was a rebuild. To go along with that though, like as a Vikings fan, I just try to find whatever I can that bothers me about Aaron Rodgers. And I get tired of hearing how Aaron Rodgers is this Mount Rushmore quarterback, potentially the greatest quarterback to ever play. And it's like the guys won a Super Bowl over a decade ago, or a decade, maybe. Is it a decade ago? Maybe. And I'm sorry, but he's not better than Tom Brady. This guy, Patrick Mahomes, who has started, 5 seasons now with 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl wins, an AFC championship appearance every year. He's better than Aaron Rodgers. So can we get off the Aaron Rodgers as a Mount Rushmore quarterback thing? Because right now we've got potentially the way he's going, he could end up being the greatest to ever play that position.
Ryan, can we just keep riding this high horse on Aaron Rodgers until somebody like the Raiders overpay him and raise that cap? Can we please?
Clark, I see you're in a pretty dark room right there. Are you doing some isolation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking a lead from Aaron Rodgers. I shouldn't be on here right now. I'm cheating by talking to you guys and not focusing in my dark isolation to mentally recoup after a terribly long 18 weeks.
It's funny when you hear about all of these other normal American citizens that say, I'm going to go into a dark room for 4 days and do drugs and it'll enlighten me. People go, what a fucking weirdo and drug addict. And then when Aaron Rodgers does, they go, oh, ayahuasca, it's cool. It's not like it's totally crack or anything. You know,
I think people have kind of flipped their opinion on him lately. I think and again, it's not me saying he's not a great quarterback. He is a phenomenal quarterback who I wish we could have had in our franchise. But everyone saying he's the greatest to ever play or throw the ball, I'm sorry, but he's not even the best currently in the NFL. He hasn't been for 4 years anyway.
The big threshold that Pat Mahomes finally did was he finally tied Jimmy G for 2 Super Bowls in the league. They're tied for the most active rings. So Mahomes finally did it. Him and Chad Henne, who goes out on top, you know. The list is finally complete. Everyone goes, what's the greatest quarterback to win his second ring and go out in a Super Bowl victory? In my opinion, one John Elway, one Peyton Manning, Chad Henne.
Maybe Mahomes should go out on top. Just retire after this year. He's got 2. How many more does he need? Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's probably got at least another dozen.
Super Bowls.
With advancements in modern medicine, I don't doubt that somebody's going to give him a brand new set of ankles, and we're going to be set like every year, brand new.
I was going to say, which one of you guys are giving up some ligaments?
He doesn't want mine. They're trash. But
whatever they gave him, though, that's the advanced shit that only rich people have access to. That medicine, us common folk don't. They are just gave him some perks in the background because he was feeling himself in the second half. He was all wired for sound. So
I mean, did you see the report that he did not get any medications at halftime because they had given him max dose before the game?
I heard that he didn't get any needles or shot up at halftime. It's like, well, and like people said, well, yeah, because you can't stick a needle in an ankle. Like, so of course they didn't give him any. I didn't know they didn't give him any pain meds.
Yeah,
it was Rihanna's performance that brought him to another level.
He does love Rihanna.
Yeah, he loves.
Apparently, Rihanna likes him too.
But
no, that is a lying son of a bitch that spread that. Get his hopes all up and then be like, yeah, she didn't say that. Sorry.
The only other thing I really wanted to just point out in the game, I think I mentioned it earlier, but the Chiefs had the third most rookie snaps this year. It was Houston was number 1, I think. Chicago's number 2, and they're the top 2 picks in the draft, and then the Chiefs. Just going down their 22 draft. Now, there's about 3 that didn't have significant time, but in the game here, we had in the first round Trent McDuffie, starter. In the first round, the Greek Freak, starter. Second round, Brian Cook, nickel safety. Second round, Sky Moore. He was the 4th, 5th wide receiver and punt returner. Had that big touchdown there.
I'm not sure I would hang punt returner on his accolades.
Yeah. And then Tony, midseason acquisition, made that huge play and a huge touchdown as well. Williams, cornerback starter. Watson was a starter as well. I believe he was a cornerback as well, isn't he? I'll be honest. Okay. And then Isaiah Pacheco, running back starter. I mean, that is in Veach I trust. He could literally just say, "Hey, I'm drafting a Baylor because I'm watching him right now, a Baylor forward," and I go, "Sounds good. Sounds like we got a tight end because he knows exactly what the fuck he's doing." I mean that is. I know he would never win exec, and Reed would never win coach of the year when you have Mahomes and Kelsey. You do have that talent on that team. But holy shit, the development and coaching that they had when you have that many, that is 7 players in a rookie on rookie contracts that are starting in the Super Bowl and playing significant snaps. They had the most rookie snaps of all time in a Super Bowl, and they played that well.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, were they perfect? No, but I mean, again, they did enough, and all that matters is banners fly forever. So
You know what that tells me, Bryant?
what's that?
This team has a lot of potential to be very, very good again next year. With all those rookie starters, that's 4 years. They've only played one of those 4 years. We can go spend a lot of money and bring in those quality veterans, pay Chris Jones, keep praying, pay Frank. Frank Clark was great this postseason.
Do we know what's
we
going
still
on with
got
that
Mahomes.
gun charge?
What's that?
Do we know what's going on with that gun charge?
I have no idea what's happened with that.
Neither do I. But if as long as that's solved, pay him. I agree.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, as long as he stays mobile, pay him. Like let's keep bringing in the talent we need to.
Yep.
And keep developing these rookies, man. We got at least another couple years here where this team has a lot of cap potential to go get some championships.
You know how many picks we have in next year's draft? 12. I mean, fucking we're just going to be able to replenish anything or trade back and get future picks.
Are we still cashing in Tyreek Hill picks?
Oh yeah. I mean that's again that's where we mentioned before, when you have a situation like that and you can get a trade, both disgruntled and everything, I think you're starting to see executives are just going to go, fuck it, let's just get as much as we can off of this guy. So you see it in the NBA all the time. Okay, Durant's not happy or Kyrie's not happy. Let's just get the most we fucking can. I saw it was some role player. I'm terrible with NBA. Joey would know this one. He got traded 5 second-round picks. Because second-round picks, if you don't need to develop them too much. I mean, it's probably equivalent to day 3 picks, but you saw what the Chiefs did with their day 3 picks this year. I mean, just
that was going to be a point that I was going to come across with my anti-Aaron Rodgers thing. Yeah, one of your guys' receivers was MVS that Aaron Rodgers couldn't do anything with. Got rid of him. Yeah, and like that tells me that right there, Mahomes is better than him just because he can actually make use of him with something.
So MVS was big time in the conference championship game. I don't think he even had a single catch in the Super Bowl.
No, but he was important throughout the season.
But he was still on the field. They still had to cover him. He played big time in the conference championship, so of course they're going to give him attention. But when the Chiefs need somebody to make plays, it only took one play from Sky Moore, wide open touchdown. It only took 2 plays, I guess, from Kadarius Toney if we count the punt return. But those touchdowns, the Chiefs were dialing up, the Kadarius Toney and the Sky Moore touchdowns, were those the exact same routes, just mirrored, flipped? Yep. Because it's they ran motion from the outside going in, hit the tight end, and turn around to the flat, wide open. Not anybody within 10 yards.
So I believe they said, from what I read, is the Jaguars had did that a few weeks ago versus the Eagles. And what it does is that immediate misdirection, it causes miscommunication between those corners. And you saw how both of them got pulled inside, and it was just you and me could have made that throw, Clark. Not as well, but
it almost seemed as if it was they had it down to that science where it's at that point where the defenders are supposed to switch men. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't happening. The guy who was set up on Kelsey on the inside does not have time to get to the outside whenever he's supposed to be taking the wide receiver who's come in motion is going to be inside, leaving Kelsey outside. Mm-hmm. Well, you snap it right whenever the wide receiver is behind the tight end and they're switching. Yeah. But Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney are very quick out to the flat, touchdown.
Let's be real. Let's be real honest though. If you're at corner or the corners and you see Travis Kelce and then Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney behind him, I'm gonna, I would rather just burn me on the outside. We're not gonna let Kelce jump to the inside and burn us again. And everyone's going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
You guys need to get Lazard next year. You'll make him into a star.
Mm-hmm. We
Hey,
need more
hey,
blocking wide receivers. Hell yeah.
Bryant's pants can only handle so much
Nah.
excitement.
But
I'm
not
wearing
too much blocking
sweatpants,
because
buddy.
you don't want him to count and get in trouble for it. You guys already say mean words to people. You don't want anybody counting.
Yeah, we do not.
So you bring up blocking, and I feel like we need to give the Chiefs offensive line an applause. All we heard all week, along with the Eagles, totally outmatch the Chiefs. They're going to run it down their throat. Their defense is too good. Mahomes is going to be laying on his back the whole game. How many
Clark, they had
sacks
70 sacks this year. They had 70 sacks.
Ridiculous. A ridiculous number of sacks. How many did they have in the Super Bowl?
Oh, cero, as they say in Spanish. In English, it's 0.
Cero? Big fat goose egg? Not one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good job, boys.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, everyone played well. It was just literally, to give the Eagles credit, because I've obviously been trolling so many times, the Eagles were literally that good. Holding them to 35 was an accomplishment with how well Jalen Hurts was running the ball, and rushing touchdowns. Couldn't stop it as much as we couldn't stop any conversion of how gassed our defense was. Holding them to 35 was an accomplishment, with our offense. Once they got their heads out of their butts and out of the first half, and Mahomes had MJ's, secret stuff at halftime, then that was the offense we've seen all year, where it's just like legit after the second one, if I was 1 out of 10, I was like, okay, I'm feeling 5 here. Then we got to the third touchdown. I'm like, okay, I'm getting to a 6 out of 7, 6 or 7 out of 10. And then, after that, Jerick McKinnon, which I hope they extend him, man. I know he isn't the greatest runner, but just having that veteran presence, and he knows what the hell he's doing back there, man. I mean, we just need a guy like him to teach, keep teaching Pacheco how to be, a leader and a veteran back there. I mean, just the slide at the half-yard line, instead of going for glory and scoring that Super Bowl touchdown on situationally knowing that we're in the right position. I mean, you can't script it better. I know everyone doesn't like 3 kneel downs and a field goal, but as a Chiefs fan, I like setting ourselves up way better for winning the game.
Yep.
So, honestly, we've really harped on this a lot longer than I expected. Anything else we want to bring up about the Super Bowl, good, bad?
In 5 weeks, not to piss you off here, Brian, but in 5 weeks, no, 3 months. We'll say 3 months. We'll give it 3 months, okay?
Okay.
So a video will come out of Josh Allen throwing a practice ball through a tire, and they will be the favorites for next year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, everyone will be cumming their pants because Josh Allen looked good in practice, and then Joe Burrow wears something really fancy and cool to a pregame game, and then he'll go off in a practice versus, fucking what the hell's his name, Eli Apple and Mike Hilton and shit. And everyone will again, they're just going to cum their pants. And you told us to remind you, when they do go off and people start saying, this is Josh Allen's year, this is just, until we see something from Josh Allen, then Burrow, I think we can say if he's going off, just we've said it. Mahomes is the gold standard right now. Just debate on who's second. That's all we ask as Chiefs fans, because like everyone was shitting on Kelce, and I laughed because he was having the Georgia Kirby Smart propaganda where no one believed in us. But legitimately, man, like the whole 2 weeks we're hearing about how the Eagles will just run all over us. This will not be a close game. All year it's been, in every offseason, it's Mahomes versus Allen. Now it's Mahomes versus Burrow. Couldn't get over the hill. Burrow. We've heard about how every quarterback is going to challenge it, and we've jumped over those. So,
did you watch pregame shows?
I saw one of them where they all picked the Eagles. So, that's where
not one of you picked us. Not one of you.
So everyone can say Kelce, it's like, we didn't believe that a team that had won a Super Bowl and been the AFC Championship every year you didn't think we believed you? No, because literally everyone was going, and it was probably just their villain arc. They're trying to be fresh. We're going for the Eagles. They're the hot young team, and they have a very talented roster, and you know what? They heard it. They heard it the same way they heard Burrowhead. They heard it the same way how the Bills were the regular season and don't even need to play the playoffs because they're that good of champions. It's they hear that stuff, and in an athlete's way to warp their mind. Same thing with MJ, how they're always the underdog, being the best tight end. You can make an argument in history. Mahomes being one of the best quarterbacks in history. The way that they consider themselves, everyone talks down to them as underdogs. That will be a power that regular people never do. Athletes somehow they're always in the grind mentality.
And I took that personal.
They have a warped sense of reality, and frankly, it worked out for us, so I'm fine with it. So,
well, extracurricular activities during this game.
Yeah.
Rihanna halftime show. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made us wait so long to watch the halftime show, Bryant.
Yeah, I put it in there. I am so glad everyone that does a stupid ass sports ball. So you're watching a bunch of grown men, but shut the fuck up. It's one thing that I love. I want to go to like their next House of the Dragon viewing, going. So you're watching them ride a dragon? Whoa! Like everyone's finally over sports ball. Like the people that act like they're better than sports just don't come to the party. Frankly, that's why I watch alone, because I don't want anyone to just piss me off like that. But by the way, I didn't say real quick. I mentioned how like people were trolling me when we were down 10, and I had people texting me immediately after Mahomes is limping on the field. I'll be honest, you trolly text me about how, oh, that doesn't look good, but hope you better. I will unleash hell on you, and then you don't get to immediately say, whoa, dude, it's just a game. No, fuck you. I'm a huge Chiefs fan, and if you're going to go after a quarterback that gets injured and purposely wait until that moment to start texting me and saying that we're going to lose, then fuck you. I will rain hellfire on you in a text message, and then you're going to cry like a little bitch, and you're going to, well, I didn't mean it that bad. No, fuck you. Sorry, that's the way it's going to go. If you're going to troll me, I will troll you right back. I will give you the reaction you want, and then you can't get mad when you get said reaction. That's it. But back to Rihanna. As much as I wanted to go on my soapbox there, I'll be honest. I think for me, it was pretty basic. It looked like a Super Mario stage there. Or
Super Smash Brothers, baby.
That's
Joe Burrow was having the time of his life.
He had his controller in his hands. He was just I'll be honest, I think it was the only reason people are saying it's good. It's because Rihanna has a lot of good songs, and she used a lot of good Kanye songs. But as far as the show, give or take.
She's Prager's though. You can't have her jumping around everywhere.
I'll give her this. She moves more than a Lizzo concert, so I mean, you can say all you want. You go look up one Lizzo concert. It looks like me drunk on a dance floor, fucking on my 18th Crown and Coke, just doing the 1-2 shuffle here,
And so I will say good songs. Yeah, good songs. She makes great music. If that's your thing. But the show itself with the red and all the white, and was there a point to the color scheme?
I don't know. It's just so she stuck out amongst all the whites, I guess. I don't know.
It looked like a Ku Klux Klan convention. Did nobody else think this? They're all white with hoods dancing with one person in red.
If we're Fox News and we're Tucker Carlson, that's Ku Klux Klan members around their satanic leader. She might as well just went up there and started singing backwards. I'm the devil, blah, blah. That's
they did that. Hey, they did that at the Grammys. That's not even
Sam Smith.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
I thought Trent was gonna have a Grammys rundown. What the heck, dude?
Trent. Yeah, he hasn't even jumped on that slacker. He probably fell asleep.
I guarantee he fell asleep, man. I'll be honest, I'm about to crash hard. I was so hyped, to be honest, after the game. I could not sleep until 4 a.m. I don't know. I had a couple Diet Mountain Dews at 10 o'clock at night. I don't know if that's what kept me up, but I legitly couldn't get to bed for so long. I just showered last night so I could wake up and just go immediately to work because I couldn't.
Is this a good transition point? Because I want to know what you did whenever you were so hyped.
Sure. What? You
I don't.
transition it for me because I'm not sure.
Did you play Hogwarts Legacy when you were up all night?
Oh no, I did not.
Oh, that's
Honestly,
where we're going.
I was trying to go to sleep, but yes, I did play a bunch of Hogwarts Legacy this weekend.
And say I was pretty awake, so I did jump on some Hogwarts Legacy for like another hour after the game. So
hell yeah. What are you? I guess first off, because it's if you're not aware, if you Hogwarts Legacy, you just create your own player and you know navigate around Hogwarts. You do spells and shit that we've been waiting for fucking years. Finally comes out, and I think they did an amazing job. I think it looks really great. There's a couple like cutscenes that have not looked great on my Series S, which I'm gonna say it's that rather than the actual game. But
there've been a couple. I have a Series X where it seemed like maybe a texture was weird. I didn't know if it was maybe my setting being on performance rather than quality. I'm not real sure.
Same.
But there have been a couple.
But overall, man, I've really been enjoying it. It's kind of like you see everyone literally going to the exact spots in certain scenes in the game. I didn't know it was going to be so fucking. I was like, okay, it's going to be Hogwarts. No, I mean it's literally the whole area there. It's like a fucking Red Dead map, man. I didn't know it was going to be that big of an area that you're going to be traveling.
It is much bigger than I expected, and dude, the castle is ridiculous. Like I've played way too much since Friday. I'm at like 16 or 17 hours already. But literally, I was playing before the podcast, and I'm in this castle, which I've probably spent 3/4 of that time in. And I'm like, I've never been in this area. What rooms are these? Like, why am I just now seeing this? Where have I been?
No, I've been really enjoying it. I did see that you're a Ravenclaw as well, just like me. I'm not a basic. I gotta be. Yeah, I'm not gonna be a basic. I'm a Gryffindor. I'm just like Harry fucking Potter. No, you're not. You think you are, but
yeah, it kind of goes through the sorting hat thing, and you can pick what you are. Like they make it to where if you don't answer the questions right, sorry, you're a Hufflepuff. Screw you. You can pick. You can intervene. You can say I don't want to be the one you've given me. Answer the questions. I ended up Ravenclaw. I do kind of want to go back in and introduced as the other houses to kind of check out their locations as well. But yeah, Ravenclaw.
I did hear that Hufflepuffs have one side mission that other houses don't, where you get to go to Azkaban. Now it's nothing like it's not like a huge travel. It's like a 5-minute mission where you walk around. You can't do any magic. You interview like one guy or talk with it. It's like a memory, and then you leave. That's the rumor. Which
pensive.
The pensive, yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I haven't got too much into it. I'm just kind of like slowly starting to okay, I can sell my items and make it look cool and shit. But yeah, man, I have been absolutely loving it so far.
Quit it. Are they going to add it?
Not for a while. I think I would say until people start getting bored with it and they see their player base drop. They'll do a battle pass. You can get the Firebolt at the end of it, level 100.
This isn't Activision, Bryant.
I want to pay money and watch Bryant taunt Potter nerds.
So here's my thought on it is I feel like there will be Quidditch. It was something they were working on before.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how it'd be very difficult to program that and make that work.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. Just like these NFL referees getting a judgment call correct. Like it's going to be the same issues.
They've also talked about like, cause they specifically bring up, there is some whatever the hell accident. We won't have the Quidditch field this year. They're going to add more shit and they're going to, they're going to add on to it. But I have heard the rumor that they are not planning on expanding the multiplayer. If the money's there, they will. I just think right now it's like, guys, the game came out a week ago. Let's just enjoy the single player. Quit jumping into shit that we're working on months and years down the road. Why don't you just enjoy this? Like, I'm probably 6% through it, so I'm a decent ways only playing one weekend, but stuff's going to get a lot longer. There's going to be more challenging and stuff. Like, that is one thing in the gaming community I get tired of is the people that unlock shit immediately. They either buy the whole battle pass or they, like Twitch streamers, it's their job where they're playing for, 12 hours a day and then they get mad that there's no content. It's like, yeah, because this isn't supposed to be the only thing you do in life. You need to, like, we work our 9 to 5s and we come home and we play for 3 hours a day and it stretches it out for months. It's not a focus on for 1 month and then you're done with it.
Yeah. If they do come out with like DLC or sequels or whatever, where hey, here's Hogwarts Legacy 2, year 6, buying it. I'll pre-order it. I did not pre-order this game. I did buy it when it came out because I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. Yeah, if I hear about a sequel or DLC, I'm buying it right away. Like it, I've enjoyed it way too much.
Yeah, I can't wait till year 7. I mean, it's gonna slowly start just being like the Fast and Furious franchise, but I will get out of it once it gets to the Fantastic Beasts part. I'm not gonna deal with it. What's his name? Redmayne. What's his first name? I can't remember what his name is.
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter for him. I just hate the way his mouth looks in that whole. It's like a sidewind, thin lipped.
I think there's a part where you're gonna have to deal with some beast in this game. I have not gotten it
Yeah.
myself, and I'm like 20-some% through. But
there's so much stuff that I've seen on TikTok. But anyway, regardless, open world. It's everything where it's like imagine you're in Hogwarts that you've been imagining for because you read these books fucking 20 times. Now it's a reality, and it is fun as shit. And honestly, the battle animations and the style of it, I think it looks fucking cool. It's you kind of in the first few movies you saw the whippity bippity boo. It's straightforward, and then you get towards the later movies, and they're like, we can kind of like have them wear regular clothing like normal people do, and we can have Sirius Black do a fucking whip the spell at people, and it looks cool as shit, and they put it into the game.
Yep.
So I don't know. I've been enjoying it. I would, if anyone is a Potterhead or I'm kind of on the fence, just buy it. It is worth it. It is fun, and it's not something you have to grind. Like I said, I haven't played in the last couple of days, and you can jump in, do 1-2 missions, and it's not like for me like COD. I have to, I'm gonna grind doing headshots now. No, you do a little side quest, get gobstones or some shit.
Speaking of which, your week's about to be ruined because season 2 of Call of Duty starts in 2 days.
Yeah, I know. Then I have to
get on the clock, Brian. It's time to grind.
I gotta grind a whole bunch of new fucking weapons, man. So I don't know. I'll be honest, I've been getting really burnt out on it. That's where I'm glad this game, like, I was on the edge and someone goes, you should buy it. Like, someone literally just texts, are you going to buy it? And I go, yeah. I was just, COD has burnt me out so much with can't get a win in fucking Warzone 2. That's really burnt me down. Like, the other in Verdansk, I had over 50 wins. This one, I've barely gotten 2. And it's, I don't know, time to kill. The new game is just so different from the first, and it's not changed in a good way either. So, regardless, get Hogwarts Legacy. It's been a blast. So.
All right. About ready to wrap this up with the last topic.
I would say real quick, the Last of Us episode 5 during Survive. Ryan, did you get to this one?
Sure did. It was another great episode. It was just a solid series. This was a 10 out of 10 episode for me. The build up to the story and everything, a lot of it's very similar to what was in the game. And at the end there, when that big hole opened up and they all came flying out, that was awesome. You had the boss zombie come out, the boss clicker, whatever, come out. That thing was awesome. Very, very emotional. It really touches a person. It's really it's such a dark show, and I don't think there's anybody that comes out happy or anything like that. But it's just such a high quality show.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the kind of juxtaposition of, like, I think in any story like this, we're watching, oh, well, here's the two, the two main stars, the protagonists in the episode, and you're seeing two other people in a very similar situation instead of, kind of strangers, him leading her and didn't know her before. It's brothers leading each other in a different situation, but it's two people relying on each other. I would say I get sick of so many people saying that shit's woke, but I love the fact that, here's a kid that, could only sign with his brother, so that made him that much closer where they had to rely on each other in this episode. And it was kind of that room where they were underneath the city and they waited out until it got dark. Apparently that's like another direct knockoff from the video game. but I've not heard one negative thing about the show, man. I mean, people can always say, "Oh, it was overhyped," or "You only like Pedro Pascal," or whatever, but they haven't had one bad episode yet. They keep introducing more and more stakes, and like I said, it is kind of video game-esque. Where okay, this game, this episode we have met 2 new people, but we also had our biggest raid of all the clickers, and now the next big bad. Now we got a bloater here, So, um, yeah, man. I mean, between the action and you can actually see the action at night compared to House of the Dragon. I mean, they seriously can't do wrong. This is appointment television for me.
Yeah. The only, I guess it's not even a complaint, it's just something for me. Who was the main chick part of the Rebels? There was it Kathleen or whatever? What was her
Yeah,
name?
Kathleen.
The only issue I have was her casting, and it's only because I don't know if you guys watched 2.5 Men or not. I can't get Rose from 2.5 Men out of my head. And it's not that she's a bad actress or anything. It's just when I see her, I see that character. And it's kind of like, okay, this just doesn't fit to me. But she still did a good job. I mean, it wasn't like she did bad.
This is probably conceived as sexist, but it's like, how can when you have your 2 main leaders are her and then the grizzled guy with the gray beard and kind of like leading her decisions or trying to anyways, how is he not leading them?
Yeah.
That was all I could think the whole time was like, why is he not leading them? But again, it kind of showed you, he was telling her, get the fuck out of here because you need to survive. You're part of this rebellion. And then she was going for vengeance, revenge, whatever you want to call it. And then she gets eaten by one of the child clickers. It's like, well,
it was kind of cool. They showed the girl that played that. She was like a 12-year-old gymnast that did all of those stunts and stuff. So there's no CGI with that. It was all her in a costume doing all those movements and stuff. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then
she got really lucky. She got stuck in the vehicle with the one gymnastic clicker that was doing more worried about doing perfect flips than the ones that are like zombies that are sprinting at you at full speed with nothing impeding their way.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did a good job. One more thing too, they did a good job of showing the kids being kids. Like you look at Ellie and she's so mature, going through so much, but then you see them in that room, they're playing soccer, looking at comic books and stuff like that, and it's just like, yeah, that's 2 kids dealing with this garbage, basically.
Yep. No, I agree. It definitely showed the humanity side of it. And of course, another heartbreaking ending. We won't spoil it, but I was like, that's what this show is going to be. It's going to be introducing all these new characters, and it looks like we finally get to see the brother next episode here. So
yeah, I know one thing reading through Reddit and stuff, someone said there's no happiness in the show. This is just a dark show. You don't expect there to be happy endings. And there's truly no good guys or bad guys. It's just people trying to do what they can to get through. So it's true. It's everyone's done something bad, everyone's done something good, and it's just they're doing a good job of showing this too.
Agreed. Well, I'll be honest. I really don't have much more I need to say on anything. Clark, you got anything else you want to wrap up with?
Woo!
Know your worth and shut your mouth.
You jabronis.
Alrighty. Well, we do appreciate everyone that joined us live, commenting with us, and that does watch us on YouTube and listen. But if you haven't yet, make sure you follow us at our socials: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at Heartland Pulse. Excuse me, Facebook, YouTube, Pulse of the Heartland. And then kind of our partners here. In the zone.studio for our articles. I know Joey has our Uncle Joe's thoughts on there. And then in the zone 1 on Twitter. So do appreciate everyone joining us, as I said, and then we'll catch you next week.